Hello students, today let us learn the poem A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. Before we go into the poem, let us know a few facts about the poet. John Keats was born on 31st October 1795 and died on 23rd February 1821. He was an English romantic poet. He was one of the main figures of the second generation of romantic poets along with Lord Byron and P.B. Shelley. Although his poems were not generally well received by critics during his lifetime, his reputation grew after his death. So by the end of the 19th century, he had become one of the most beloved of all English poets. The poetry of Keats is characterized by sensual imagery, most notably in the series of odes. Today, his poems and letters are some of the most popular and most analyzed in English literature. His notable works are Ode to Autumn, Ode to a Nightingale, On First Looking into Chapman's Homer, Ode on a Grecian Urn, which is considered to be one of the Keats' masterpieces. Let us now see the background of the poem. A British romantic poet, John Keats, published his first epic poem, Endymion, in 1818. It is a narrative about the relation between a goddess and her human lover. The poem is based on the Greek myth of Endymion, the shepherd who falls in love with the moon goddess Selene, whom the poet renames Cynthia. This extract, A Thing of Beauty, talks about how beautiful things give us pleasure and alleviate suffering and sorrow. The epic poem Endymion begins with the line, A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Now let us see the theme of the poem. The poem A Thing of Beauty, written by John Keats, is about the poet's views on beauty and its importance in life. The very opening line of the poem, A Thing of Beauty, openly recites the theme of the poem. Any beautiful object is always treasured in our mind because it provides us eternal and everlasting joy. The happiness that anything beautiful provides never fades into nothingness but multiplies manifold whenever it returns to our mind. A beautiful young shepherd named Endymion resolves to seek out goddess Cynthia. He goes through several places like the forest and the sea for that. The short excerpt from this poem reflects how beauty can motivate us in various ways. It talks about beauty being a part of the system around us. We can find beauty in nature or man-made concepts, ideas like art or poetry. Now let us read the poem before we go into the explanation. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence of the inhuman dearth, of noble natures of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and overdarkened ways made for our searching. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep. And such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. The mid-forest brake rich with the sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens' brink. Now, having read the poem, now let us see the first few lines. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. The word bower here means a shaded place. Now, a thing of beauty is about appreciating anything and everything around us. Anything that looks beautiful is a source of joy for us. Keats says a beautiful thing becomes more attractive as we keep enjoying it. The more we look closely at its beauty, the more we discover its stunning features. We never forget a thing of beauty as its memory is etched into our minds due to the joy and loveliness received from it. The after effect of a beautiful thing is that it will always prove to be a source of happiness and peace. Just like a shade under a tree or a sleep full of sweet dreams, our lives as a consequence will be full of good health and peace. Now let us see the highlights of the few lines that we have read. There is beauty in all things we see around us. It brings us happiness when we see beautiful things. Its beauty always increases and it can never fade or end. Even as it ages, the beauty increases and it can never stop. It is permanent and keeps growing, and beauty is eternal. Now let us read the next few lines. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence of the inhuman dearth, of noble natures of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and overdarkened ways made for us searching. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. Now let us see the word meanings of these lines. Morrow here means morning. Wreathing is making a wreath. Flowery band, a circular shaped pattern made of flowers. Bind means attach. Spite means despite or in spite of. Despondence means disappointment or hopelessness. Dearth here means shortage or scarcity. Noble nature means noble qualities. Gloomy days means the dark days. The phrase here refers to the days which are full of sad events. Unhealthy means which are not good for the mental health. Over darkened means becoming dark to an excessive amount. Now let us see the explanation part of it. Humans are connected to nature in a very close way. The poet wants to say that we participate in various earthly activities to keep ourselves attached to Mother Nature. Bonding with nature around us has been compared to wreathing flowery bands. There are many negative things in our lives, like dealing with hopelessness, encountering people who are not kind or compassionate by nature, and facing various immoral and inhuman activities that lessen our belief in humanity. Despite acknowledging the presence of these things, the poet wants to say that a beautiful thing never fails to uplift our moods. It makes us forget our worries and troubles. So the highlight of the poems here, the poet says that every day it is a beauty which fills us with spirit to live. It is a beauty which builds the desire in us to live, though there are sad moments and cruel people around us. So here the poet wants to say that without beauty, the earth will be full of cruel people, sad and gloomy moments. It is a beauty which is created by God, which helps us to remove the sadness from our hearts. Now let's read the next few lines. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon, for simple sheep, and such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. The mid-forest brake, rich with the sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Now let's see some of the word meanings here. Boon means a blessing. Rills means small streams. And mid-forest brake, a place in the forest where we stop to see musk rose bloom. And the musk rose are nothing but wild roses that blooms in the forest, and cooling covered is a place that provides a cooling sensation. Now, here the poet wants to describe the beautiful things which are present on earth. These are the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, and the rivers. The poet says that all these things are like a blessing bestowed on all the earthly creatures. He further describes that the trees provide us with their shade, with their beauty, and the rivers with their coolness during the hot summers. Of all these, there are the beauties of nature which are like a boon for us. The poet further carries on with the description of the more beautiful things present on earth, such as the beautiful musk roses which have a pleasant fragrance. Now let us see the summary of the lines that we have read now. Here the poet describes beautiful things which are present on earth, the sun, the moon, the trees, the daffodils, and the rivers. And he also wants to say that all these things are like a blessing bestowed on all the creatures by earth. He further describes that the trees provide us with their shade, flowers with their beauty and fragrance, and the rivers with their coolness during the hot summers. All of these are the beauties of nature which are like a boon for us, because they help us to attach ourselves with the earth in spite of all the troubles and the sorrow that we come across in our day-to-day life. Now let us see the last few lines of the poem. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens' brink. Now the word meanings here, grandeur means glory. Here the word stands for beauty. Dooms means ruins. Mighty dead, the legendary heroes who are now dead but immortal due to their deeds. Endless fountain, never-ending cascade or a source. Immortal drink means a nectar that makes one live forever. Now let us see the explanation of these lines. The poet here describes the tales of the mighty warriors who laid their lives for their countries or for humanity. He also finds a similar beauty in the inspirational stories of the great men or kings who have done many noble deeds and left behind their legacies. He finds such stories beautiful and splendid as the beauties of nature. The poet urges us to see the immense reserve of beauty around us. He calls it an endless fountain of immortal drink. They are like a nectar given by God to us, and these are those beauties which are immortal and give us a reason to live on this earth despite having so many sorrows in our life. Now let us see the main points here. Keats finally refers to the beauty of the grandeur of the mighty dead, that is, the martyrs who sacrifice their lives for the good cause. There is a joy of the lovely tales that we have heard or read about them. The poet says, nature provides us with abundant beauty that it looks like a never-ending fountain of a drink which falls on us and lets us live forever. It is like a shower of blessings. The beauty of nature is like a nectar that flows straight from the edge of a heaven. If we take inspiration from the beauty around us, we can live forever happily and healthy. Now let us see some of the poetic devices used in the poem. We have anaphora, where the same word is used in two consecutive lines, of noble nature, of all the unhealthy. Alliteration, the use of the consonant sounds at the start of two words, like band-bind, noble nature, some shape, sprouting shady, simple sheep, and cooling covered. Then we have the use of metaphor in wreathing a flowery band, an endless fountain, and in the phrase bower quiet. We all know that Keats' poems are full of imagery. So here also we have few imageries: a flowery band to bind us, and then sprouting shady boon, and then the daffodils with the green world they live in, the clear rills. We have another poetic device called inversion, where the normal order of the words is reversed. In the phrase, are we reading a flowery band? And we have transferred epithet in the phrase, gloomy days. And this poem, the rhyme scheme is AABB.